You know, summers in Boise, pretty hard to beat. You have a river that runs through it. It's usually filled with floaters on tubes and rafts and, yeah, sometimes air mattresses. But what about what's lined up next to the river? Summer also means lots of traffic on the Boise Greenbelt and prompted this message from Brenda in Boise. Hey, just wondering if you could do some investigating into the rules on the Greenbelt concerning e-bikes and scooters. It's getting kind of scary, crazy sometimes in some areas. Thanks. Yeah, an investigation, you say? Well, we did our best investigating here because e-bikes and scooters are allowed on the Greenbelt and, of course, other Boise trails as well. However, you better be sure you're in the right place. Here's Andrew Bartline.
There's no race. In fact, none of it's coordinated. But Pelotons still take shape and share a trip through nature alongside pedestrians.
The usage definitely has gone up over the years.
The people using the Boise Greenbelt aren't governed by rules. This system is an etiquette.
People are usually pretty respectful and courteous when they're using it.
Pass on your left, slow traffic stays right, and keep your speed under control. Doug Holloway is the City of Boise Director of Parks and Recreation. He says this system has been the backbone of the Greenbelt for decades.
But you really are looking at that 90-10 rule, where 90% of the people are following the rules and are observing the etiquette that we have on our website versus that 10% that may not.
So who is the 10%? Regular Greenbelt users aren't shy about pointing them out, especially when the evidence is hidden in plain sight.
Well, certainly the addition of the e-scooters.
Some people have gotten a little bit fast on the motorized options.
Maya Kelly swears this is her first time riding an e-scooter on the Greenbelt, but she says it's not a big deal. She rides the scooter no different than if she was riding a bicycle.
I'm moving faster than a walker, but I'm smaller and more vulnerable than a car, so that feels like a bicycle kind of category.
There is a perception out there that because it is motorized that they go a lot faster and they're more out of control. And so we just ask those that use scooters and e-bikes on the Greenbelt to follow the same etiquette that we're asking everyone else to follow on the Greenbelt. And for the most part, they're doing that.
That's because some people need an electric bike. Take Larry Nelson, for example.
I'm 76, 77 in 20 days.
Nelson lives in McCall, but he makes the trip to Boise often through the spring and fall months.
I'm ready for the snow to be gone, and I just want to go on a nice bike ride.
But at his age, the bike is harder to pedal, and the small hills start to look more like mountains. So Larry bought an e-bike.
It's a lifesaver. I ride every day.
He says it's the best option to get the exercise he needs.
What happens if I go to the gym? I'm there for 30 minutes and I'm done. I mean, I might stay and lift a few weights, but when I go for a bike ride, I might be out for half a day.
We are trying to create a city for everyone, which means inclusion in all the activities and facilities that we have. So if adding e-bike use to those facilities does help us with meeting that goal of total inclusion, that makes a big difference on those that can get out and enjoy the Greenbelt versus those that can't.
But it's important to know these e-bikes cannot go everywhere. Holloway says several agencies overseeing the trails and the foothills still consider e-bikes a motorized vehicle.
Which is like saying you can ride any trail that's not fun. Well, I wanted to have fun.
Nelson can still have his fun in the foothills, but he first needs to get a permit with the City of Boise. This permit is for an accommodation, whether that be for disability or age.
They seem to take my word for it. I am old. And so it's a very easy process.
The permit only allows e-bike use on a few foothill trails overseen by the City of Boise. And in the City of Trees, it seems to be more about how you ride than what you ride.
I would like to see more people announce as they're passing people.
Because on this path, there's no race and no trophy for coming in first.
Your problem is actually the people on non-e-bikes that are 19 years old. It's because it's a speed problem.
Holloway says it's totally fine if you want to zip around the Greenbelt on an e-scooter or an e-bike, but some of the biggest problems are when people leave those rented scooters or bikes parked on the Greenbelt when they're done using it. As you can imagine, Brian, the perception of, these people on the electric options, they're zipping by so fast. Holloway says that's not exactly true, but when you leave them parked there, you're certainly not helping the electric community in that perception.
Yeah, then you said it's not a race, but then it certainly becomes like a steeplechase out there if these bikes e-bikes and scooters are scattered across the Greenbelt like that. It's interesting. He said, yeah, some of these non-e-bikes guys, they're going just as fast sometimes.
Yeah,
and trying to push that.
I haven't ridden a bike on the Greenbelt, but I know back home in Spokane when I was a kid, we used to zip down hills much faster than 20 miles an hour.
Not too many hills here in the Boise Greenbelt, but I get what you're saying. All right, thank you very much, Andrew, and we'll be right back.